Hi, my name is Amanda Walker. I have focused my learning project over the idea of teletherapy. I thought it would be very unique to demonstrate my presentation through the possible idea of what a teletherapy session would look like. So I hope you find it interesting and enjoyable. The idea of telecommunications is that when services are provided through synchronous live video chat, which is very different than what we're doing right now. Obviously, I have recorded this for presentation purposes. However, during a typical telesession, it would be live and you could go back and forth between the client and the therapist. There are a plethora of names for this idea, such as teleintervention, telehealth, telepractice, virtual home visits. However, for the majority of my presentation, I'm going to refer to it as teletherapy, but if you are interested in it, there are a variety of names that you could look for. I have based my presentation over the idea that you are interested in providing teletherapy services later in your career. So I have come up with some ideas that would help you be successful. When we think about this new idea, it is very scary. Technology is just overwhelmingly terrifying. We're not comfortable with the technology. I'm not very comfortable with the technology. I've probably recorded this video up to like 10 times now. We're not comfortable with change. We get comfortable in our situation, and we need to be willing to meet the needs of our students, and teletherapy can be that option for some families. There are a lot of veteran therapists that have been doing this in the home their entire career, so they're not comfortable with the change. And another scary idea is that there's no IT support. When you're in the middle of a session, you don't have anybody that you can call. Well, I'm sure there's someone that you can call, but in the moment, you feel overwhelmed because there's not an IT person right down the hallway to help you with your session. However, us as individuals, we need to have a growth mindset. We need to be meeting the needs of the developing brains of today. And the developing brains of today are using technology in a variety of ways. If we are interested, if we are motivated, if we are just super excited about this idea of teletherapy, we will be successful. Is this type of therapy going to be a lot of work? Well, of course it is. However, so is the traditional in-home therapy sessions. Technology, a big form of the whole idea of teletherapy. What you're going to need is you're going to need a good bandwidth, which is at least 1.5 megabits per second. If you have a slower bandwidth, just make sure that other people in the house are not using it while you're in the middle of your session with your client or therapist. You need a device, and this can be a variety of ideas. You can use your phone, you can use a tablet, you can use your laptop, you can use a webcam. There is just a variety of all different options that you can use that would meet your needs. You're also looking to have a system that has software security. It needs to be very safe and private. A lot of programs have a link that would be just to you and the family, that is very private, and also it would be recorded for growing purposes for the parents to look back on, as well as the therapist. The parents have an overwhelming amount of emotions when considering the idea of teletherapy. So at the beginning, they're most likely will have this mindset of, when I'm sick, I go to the doctor. My child has a hearing loss, I need to go to the therapist. We can change this idea by having this positive attitude. We can help them not feel overwhelmed by thinking, is my child going to be able to process this new information? Is my child going to have effective therapy treatment? Or is the quality going to be just as good as an in-home therapy session? Yes. You, as the parent, are in the driver's seat. Through this idea of teletherapy, no matter how much you want the therapist to be there, they're not. So it really gives the parents an opportunity to own their learning, their own coaching strategies. This can be incorporated into a variety of routines in different areas of the home, and it can just overall improve the parents as the listening and spoken language parents. They are the ones that are doing the true parent coaching. The therapist, your job is to meet the needs of all. They need to have flexible hours, this may not be everybody's idea, but possibly in the evenings, possibly on the weekends, just whatever meets the needs of the parents. A tool inventory needs to be also come up with, and that's because you're not going to the house with your bag of toys. You need to take an inventory of what toys/tools are in the home that could help with your sessions. The length of the sessions would obviously vary based on the needs of the child. Typically it's like an hour per week. Finances, that is mainly based on insurance, or it could possibly be out of pocket. Teleservices are not typically, it's kind of a new idea, so it's not really covered right now. It can be, there just needs to be a justification letter sent. The communication with the families need to also be before and after the session, and that could easily just be with a phone call or with an email of the goals and the objectives and just the tools that may be used during the session. This idea of teletherapy means that it is access to all. Everybody has the right to these effective services, whether they live in a small little country town. This idea also enhances the reduction of missed visits due to the time, due to the weather, due to sickness. Many times the child could be sick and the conference could just be with the therapist and the parent. People that are living in poverty, they also have this option too. There are 3 options that are for families that are living in poverty. They could do the services over a phone. A lot of families or a lot of people have a smartphone, so they could do that. However, they need to make sure that the program that they're using is with HIPAA compliance, such as Zoom. That is a HIPAA compliant idea. Skype, FaceTime, those are not HIPAA compliant. Another options for families that are living in poverty is that they could go to their local school or library. A lot of those places are very willing to meet the needs of others, so they would possibly have a device for them to use, or there are program fundings that lend equipment and iPads. Resources, these are a lot of people that know their stuff better than me. This is where I used a lot of my ideas for this learning project. We saw Elizabeth as she Skyped in with us. She started her own practice in 2014. Arlene Stedler-Brown, she's kind of the guru of this idea. She's in Colorado. Melissa McCarthy, she lives in Australia, and she works with the RIDBC, which is the Royal Institute of the Deaf Blind. And then Callie, I believe is how you pronounce it, she works at CID, and this teletherapy idea is in the piloting stage at CID. I'm going to end it with a quote. I know I'm like 2 minutes over. Change is scary, but you know what's scarier is allowing fear to stop you from growing, evolving, and progressing. We need to meet the needs of the brains of today, and if this idea of teletherapy is what meets the needs of others, then we need to be open and willing to work through this and be the best providers we can be. Thank you, and I'm very open to questions.